Back again for another video. On today's topic, we will be discussing how being a good man, so-called, quote unquote, air quotes, isn't going to get you every woman you want. So I know this is a very subjective conversation to have. It is more geared towards the expectations. This is the reason why many people in this arena, atmosphere, genre, whatever you want to call it, red pill ideology, black manosphere, whatever, will tell you why you shouldn't prioritize a woman and why you should prioritize your purpose. Remember, I've said a few times on my videos before that I don't pass women shit tests and I don't fail them either. Because I don't care. I don't care. Here's one thing that I understand about women is that they will rationalize anything through their emotions. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what it is. What it is. Okay, let's look at plenty of pieces of dark history here. This is the black pill, right? Those slave owners had wives. No matter what they were doing, no matter what those slave owners did, a lot of them had wives. Back during the Holocaust, a lot of those soldiers under what's my man's name? You know my man's name with the little broom brush mustache. Under Hitler, they had wives. A woman will justify anything that she wants, and by all means, none of these men or people involved were good people. We can generally say that in the world court of opinion, that a lot of these people who created these atrocities, whether it be slavery, Holocaust, genocides, whatever, are not good people. But they have women who back them, right? So good is very subjective in the eyes of a woman, right? That's one thing that you have to keep in mind. But one thing that you can be for certain, that no matter what a woman gets behind, it's behind a position of purpose. It doesn't matter. Let's think about it. So when it comes to, let's look at school. You know, these schools, they have a purpose, right? And women support that. They go and get these degrees. Not just women, but everyone supports this. But by and large, we see a lot of women on campus. No matter what the campus culture is like, no matter if it's toxic or not, no matter if these degrees don't mean anything, no matter what the concept is, because the exchange is whatever it may be for the woman, but most times it's notoriety, is status, is the ability to say that they're with something, right? I got my degree from so and so in what, I went to Harvard, and all they want to be associated with these institutions that serve a purpose, right? Think about it. Even with a woman's job, she doesn't identify herself without naming that job, right? Think about it. Everything that she identifies herself with, that she holds up proudly in the society as it stands right now, she lists herself as an attribute rather than she lists these things as an attribute to add to what she identifies as. These things have a purpose, right? And more than likely, a lot of these things were created by men. So women will literally justify anything that gives them the ability to hold the status that they want, whether it be moral or not. History shows this. There's nobody who can argue that. But anyways, and once again, there are women who stood against this. The Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman. People have their qualms about that. What actually happened and stuff, whatever. But as it stands, as far as what I understood, she was against antebellum slavery. That's what the situation was, and she helped a lot of slaves find a better path to more freer, if you want to air quotes, a more freer part of the country, right? But she stood with other men in this. She stood with the purpose because the purpose was to free the slave. The purpose was to go against the South. The purpose was to undermine what the culture was in regards to antebellum slavery, which was created by who? White man. But the antithesis was created by who? White man again. And of course, black men, of course. We had plenty of notable speakers and political activists and people who were very much against antebellum slavery. But I'm not here to really talk about this. But once again, she lended herself in the support of accomplishing a bigger goal that was started by men. That's my whole thing. Regardless of what side she stood on, there were women who stood against it. There were women who stood for it. Regardless of where they stood, it was not their own creation. It was something that was created by men that had a purpose. She gets behind a purpose and she will justify it through her emotions. Where am I going with this in regards to good men? Once again, just because you label yourself as a decent human being does not mean that a woman is going to label yourself the same. She is literally drawn by the strings of her emotion. The strings of her emotion shape her reality. And no matter what is going on, whether it be actually morally good or against the law or for the law or politically, as far as religion goes, spirituality, it doesn't matter. Rocks, it doesn't matter. If she feels an emotional attachment that draws her to these things, she is going to justify them through her emotions. And sometimes you may be on the other side of this, unfortunately. But what can you do? What can you do? Here's what you do. You be you. You be you. Once again, like I told you, I don't move and shape myself around what a woman desires. I could care less. The reason why I could care less is because, first off, like I said, she shapes her desire around her emotions. What is one thing that we can say about emotions that is consistent? That they always change. That's one thing that we can say about emotions for certain, that they will change. And I'm not going to shape myself around something that is going to change. You get what I'm saying? Because when her emotions change, thus her perception of you changes. So why am I going to shape myself around the emotions of an entity who cannot remain consistent in their perception of me? Not going to do it. This is where you destroy yourself as a man. This is the start of you destroying yourself as a man. To be honest, I don't think every man is capable of escaping the pull of the gravitation around a woman's emotions, because we once again, they are the predators of men. I've just made that video, right? They are honed in. They have the right proper tools. They are built, literally built to manipulate men. There is nothing on this face of the earth that can manipulate men more than women. People would say drugs. I would side with that a little bit. But the thing of it is, drugs themselves aren't autonomous. The culture is autonomous, but the taking of drugs, the drugs themselves are not autonomous. You have to make a decision to act upon those things, right? And then they become an addiction. But what I'm saying here is that women, you don't have to make no damn decision. They'll act upon you. If they see something, if they emotionally gravitate to something that you have going on, whether it be good or bad, remember, it doesn't matter. They'll justify the reason why they should be with you, why they should draw to you, why they should want to be around you, why they should support whatever it is you got going on. I mean, once again, we as men, we like to draw the line. Women don't. They don't care about the line. The line is where their emotion stops. And as I just said, this line is blurred because it's all over the damn place, right? Because it's never the same. That line changes. This is the reason why we see the goalposts shifting. This is the reason why we see the plausible deniability. This is the reason why we see a lot of things in regards to what we spelled out here in the manosphere, the black manosphere. And I know what I'm saying has a bit of redundancy to it, but I'm using this as a lens to focus on what my point in rhetoric is here. My point in rhetoric is men. You should not shape yourself around a woman's desire, because her desire will change. She should shape herself around you. That's almost like a potter shaping its hands to fit the clay. That doesn't, I get that you fold your hands around the clay to form it a certain way, but what I'm saying is that the composition of the clay, the potter is going to change his composition of his hands, meaning that they're going to rearrange it into an unnatural state to fit the clay, and then not mold anything, because the clay wants you to be molded. The clay wants to mold your hands instead of you molding the clay. Does that make any sense? I don't think so. So you have to keep in mind that you're always the molder. And in order to be the molder always, that means that you are pointing the direction. Always. You're always pointing the direction. Because once you start to go in a direction, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't take the intangible advice of a woman. I'm not saying that at all. That is literally their job. That's one of the jobs that they have here. What I'm saying is that it shouldn't weigh so much, because there's a give that your hands have to the clay. You don't have metal hands. You get what I'm saying? They form around the clay. They move the clay, but in turn, the friction from the clay that the clay is giving off onto your hands has the ability to fold and crinkle and indent your hand, because your hand is not solid. You know what I'm saying? It is like a gooey kind of, you get what I mean. You know what your hand is. So it has the ability to impress upon the hand. But the thing of it is, when you move your hand away from that clay, your hand forms back to the shape that it was. Even if it was an incremental change in the surface shape of your hand moves back to the shape that it naturally sits. And this is how you should handle a woman. When you are not molding her, she should have no effect on how you move. Get what I'm saying? She should have no effect on what you choose to do in regards to maybe another pot, right? She should have no effect on these things. Now, women have autonomy, okay? So they're not clay. Clay doesn't necessarily talk back to you, but it talks back to you in a different way. There's a communication between your hands and the clay, definitely. And you need to understand that on a fundamental level, so much so that you can one for one it in regards to molding women, meaning that there's a certain conversation that needs to be had. There's a certain understanding that needs to be had. This clay needs to remain malleable, and you need to put water on it to keep it malleable. You need to give it a certain spin, not too much. This is an ingredients based thing, meaning that you have to add and take away certain things in order to mold what the object is into the intended mold that you want to go for, right? And this doesn't include you considering what you are to her. It really doesn't. That's already established upon touching the clay and molding it. Once the clay, let's just say it can understand. Once the clay understands that it is being shaped, it doesn't fight. It doesn't give pushback. It gives its natural friction, right? And that should be the most that you should expect from a woman. If you're dealing with a substance that wants to fight you, like sulfuric acid, you probably should not deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Sulfuric acid has its uses, but it's definitely not in molding material, right? So you have to be mindful of what type of woman you're dealing with in regards to molding her. But the whole reason why I'm making this roundabout in discussion is that you as a man shouldn't ever be fixated on if you're a good man or not. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. I gave all these examples of why you being a good man, why any type of man, it doesn't matter. I I loathe the conversation that men have in regards to quantifying themselves in the through the lens of a woman's desire. I loathe it. Let's think about it. Does it really matter to you that much? Does it really matter? Does it really, let's think about it. Does it really matter to you that much what woman doesn't desire you? When you're doing everything in your power to be the best man that you think you should be, not that society thinks you should be, not that your mom thinks you should be, not that your dad thinks you should be, no matter your family, your friends, that you think you should be, regardless of what that is, moral standing or not. If you are doing what you want to do with your life, why are you concerned about how a woman views you? Why? Like I said, is it that much of a concern to you how a woman views you? I understand that we find women attractive. I understand this. But the point of what I'm saying is that no matter how much you find this woman attractive, if you are doing everything that you want to do with your life and she doesn't find you attractive, she should be dead to you. Automatically. She should be dead to you. Because even if let's say, this is how men get caught up. Even if you mold yourself, think about it. That is, I don't even like saying that. That is disgusting to me. And it's not to say that anybody who does that is a disgusting person, but rather that it is a disgusting concept to say out my mouth, because I don't live my life that way. I don't mold myself to women and their desires. I am what I am, and if they don't like it, bye. Period. Because there's 7 billion people on this earth, and I'm not going to sit here and try to mold myself around one woman. I'm going to be where I naturally rest at, because that's the catch of it. If you try to mold yourself into what a woman desires, how long can you hold that uncomfortable position? Because it's uncomfortable for you, because this is literally something that you are not. Have you ever tried to put a square in a rectangular hole, or a circle or triangle hole? Have you ever tried to do that? It is damn difficult. Even if the corners are just right, trying to get that peg in there, you gonna hurt yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Naturally exists where you naturally exist. It's not the peg who shapes itself around the shape that is going into. It's the shape that is already available that the peg is supposed to go into. You feel what I'm saying? So this whole notion about men trying to be good men trying to be high value men trying to be Pookie, Ray, whatever, none of that matters. What woman is going to be attracted to you it should be the woman that is attracted to your natural state of being. Period. It's not, once again, it's not the potter who molds his hands around the clay, but it is the potter who is using his hands to mold the clay. You get what I'm saying? It's definitely a little bit of give and take. It's more give of molding on the potter side, and a lot of take on the clay side, but there's a little bit of exchange of feedback, because the potter needs to know if the clay is becoming hardened, if it's spinning too fast, if it needs more water, things like that. So it has to give you feedback, and you should adjust to these things in order to continue to do what you're doing, but not so much so that you're manipulating your hands to an uncomfortable position to meet the requirements of what the clay is demanding. Isn't that crazy? A clay demanding something from you as a potter? Come on. That's how I look at it. And I think other men should too. I don't care what a woman thinks of me. It's nice that if she thinks of me nicely, I get it, definitely. But once again, women will say something to accomplish a goal because they're predators, right? You don't care. You shouldn't care what a woman has to say, so much so that it changes the direction of how you treat her, or the direction of who you are. I'm not saying that if you are unintentionally hurting someone that you shouldn't listen to them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if this is your rest point and you don't have any ill intent, yes, there can be some communication in regards to the feedback, but it shouldn't be to the point where you are molding yourself at your natural resting state into something else that is not your natural resting state as a man. Whether it be a good man, whether it be a Pookie, whether it be a Ray, whether it be, destroyer of Earth, whatever you may have, that's my point of this, is that you shouldn't care if you're a good man or not. You shouldn't. I mean, that sounds crazy to say, but you shouldn't care if the world views you as a good man. You shouldn't care if a woman views you as a good man. Screw that. Who cares? That's their responsibility to make sure that they're getting what they want. And they're literally going to justify anything. We see it every day. Go on. I don't know if you can do it, but go on so like these dudes out of prison, they sometimes get cell phones, right? You can catch the stuff on Instagram every once in a while where they'll post a video of what's going on in the jail. Look at the comment section. There are massive amounts of women down there, and these dudes could be in jail for murder. You feel me? There are massive amounts of women down there who are pining over these men that are in the video or whatever. They're pining over them. They don't know them from Adam. They talk a lot of but once again, are you going to use that as a barometer to say I'm nothing like those men, therefore those women are either wrong or they're attracted to the wrong type of man? Who cares? Are you that dude? You're in the wrong space. You feel what I'm saying? Go where the women accept exactly who you are. Be with the women who accept exactly who you are. All those naysayers, this is the reason why men have a problem with being honest, because you're trying to cheat the game. The game is that you need to come correct exactly who you are. That way, because we all know that the woman doesn't have as much honor as the man does. So you're gonna be more dishonorable than she is. You're cheating the game, and at the end of it, you're gonna pay. That's how it works. You put yourself in a position where you are uncomfortable and you can't hold that face for long, and then you get shown exactly who you are. That is not a position of power. A position of power is, this is who I am. Accept it or buy. Position of power, right? Be who you are. Who cares about the labels? I mean, yeah, you can tell them. I tell chicks, yeah, I'm a dominant or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have. After I tell them that one time, I don't think there's going to be too many more times I'm going to remind them of that. It's either you get with the program or not. I don't need to announce myself every time I come to the room. You see me? You get what I'm saying? But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. I noticed that I meant to put a link for that one on the Patreon, but I guess I'll let it ride. Like I said, I got other stuff I might put on the Patreon. I did drop those couple of videos for y'all. So hopefully you guys enjoy them or whatever. I know I only got a few people on the Patreon, but like I said, I support people that support me, right? But anyways, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.